Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to Hurricane Game Day, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki, alongside University of Miami head coach Jim Larinaga. We are now in the middle of ACC basketball, and Hurricanes are off to a fighting start, Coach. It's been a real slugfest here so far through the first 6 games.
It has been for us, Joe. We've played 4 of those 6 on the road. We're the only ACC team that has had to play 4 of its first 6 games in conference play away from home. But it's been a good battle. We had a tough loss at home against Duke, where I thought we played very well for 32 minutes, and Duke played great in the last 8 minutes. And then a tremendous road victory at North Carolina State, a team that had just beaten Duke and Clemson, 2 teams we lost to.
You mentioned 4 out of 6 on the road, and during your time here at the University of Miami, your teams have played really well on the road. I think you're 3rd or 4th in the league in terms of ACC road wins. 2 in front are Duke and Carolina. But you've got 2 road wins this year, is my point, and road wins in this league are gold.
They really are. And yeah, the teams that have been battling at the top for generations, Duke, Carolina, they've got good road records. The University of Virginia under Tony Bennett has done a great job on the road. And then ourselves, we've been very, very competitive. We've had a lot of good road wins during the last 7 years. Hopefully we've got a lot more in us this year, because the league is so deep and so talented. There's no easy games.
All right, let's look at the North Carolina State victory for a moment. And a couple of things jump out. But number one, your team really executed your game plan, especially offensively. You said 16 assists is our goal, and you almost doubled it.
Well, we had 26 assists on 34 baskets, and I was so pleased that we responded the way we did after the Duke loss. Sometimes you're so upset by the way you lost the game that your focus is still on the last game and not looking forward to the next one. My coaches did a great job of setting the table for that by working really, really hard, breaking down the offensive videos, of showing the players what the point of emphasis was. The night before the game, we listed 5 different ways for a guy on our team to get an assist: a regular assist, a hockey assist, an attempted assist where you throw it to the guy just happens to miss the shot, but you made the right pass. An assist where a player gets fouled, so he doesn't make the basket, you don't get the assist because the shot didn't go in, but he goes to the foul line and makes the free throws. You should get credit for that. And the last one is get an offensive rebound and kick it out. We're trying to emphasize that more, and so those 5 different categories were emphasized in practice and in the pregame talk, and then our guys delivered. We had 26 assists on 34 baskets. I'd take that every night.
No question, and only 10 turnovers, so a great ratio there. You guys really protected the ball very well.
And that's something you have to do against NC State, because they pressure you 94 feet. They're picking up, they're double teaming. We had a lot of good connect passes where I find the open man and then he clicks it to the next guy. So very, very pleased with the road victory, but now we've got to get ready for a Louisville team that's really been on a roll lately. They've had some outstanding road wins. They won at Florida State, they won at Virginia Tech, and we need to step it up for Wednesday night.
All right, it's Louisville and Florida State coming up this week for the University of Miami. But right now, let's take a look back at the Hurricanes' victory over North Carolina State. Our highlights are brought to you by UL Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game. Happy to welcome you back to Hurricane Game Day, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki and University of Miami head coach Jim Larrañaga. Hurricanes are coming off a great win against North Carolina State. This week it's Louisville and Florida State. Canes are back on the road on Saturday against the Seminoles. Coach, you had some great efforts this past weekend against North Carolina State. One of those, Ibuka Zundu, he loves playing in Raleigh. He almost had a perfect game yesterday, a career high a year ago, and yesterday, the other day, a tremendous game.
Yeah, didn't miss a shot, Joe. We like that. Buka has a lot of friends in that Raleigh area because he went to high school in Charlotte, North Carolina. I think he was very excited about playing. Last year, he had great memories. He had a career high last year, as you mentioned. And for some reason, he and Anthony Lawrence seemed to really like the PNC Arena because Anthony Lawrence was terrific yesterday, too. He got us off to a great start, hitting 2 early threes. In fact, our first 9 points were on 3 3-pointers, 2 by Anthony Lawrence and 1 by Bruce Brown. So Ibuka Zundu, Bruce Brown, Anthony Lawrence, all 3 had great games.
Amp is becoming a bit of an unsung hero for you. I think he has 9 rebounds or more in 10 games. But if he's not rebounding, then he's shooting the ball really well, and sometimes he's just completely stuffing the stat sheet.
Well, one of the things is he's really a guard. He's 6'7", over 200 pounds. He's a big, strong kid, but he likes to face the basket. He's not a post-up guy. He's not someone who plays with his back to the basket. He can dribble it, he can pass it, he can shoot it, he can drive it. And that combination makes him a hard matchup, hopefully against Louisville as well, because they're big. And if you can beat your man to the basket, Amp is very unselfish, and he always finds the open man.
You have Louisville and Florida State this week. How important is it for you to continue to get the level of play that you got from Bruce Brown? Because when he plays well in the games, you win. And when he struggles a little bit, then obviously it's a struggle for the team.
Well, it's not just on the shoulders of Bruce Brown for Bruce Brown to play well. Tell the players, it's not about me, it's about we, how we do things together. And in Bruce's case, when the ball is moving effortlessly with lots of touches for everyone, he's often the recipient of either a good pass or he makes the good pass. He had one beautiful drive yesterday off of multiple passes by his teammates. He drove the big man, year 7, tried to block his shot, and he dumped it off to Dewan Ewell for a layup. That's the kind of ball movement that we want, and when we get that, Bruce Brown is the Bruce Brown we all love.
You mentioned Louisville's size the last 2 years, really the last 3 times you've played Louisville. Every single game seems like it comes down to the final possession. You get him at home this time, so that's important, but that's going to be a monster game inside the league.
It is. They're sitting in second place, just 1 game behind Virginia. Virginia's undefeated, but they've played a majority of their games at home. Louisville's got some very good road victories. They've played well these last several weeks. After their loss to Kentucky earlier in the year, they responded in a very positive way. Their shot blocking ability, their ability to guard the rim in what we call the A area, right around the block to block and inside the 3-second lane, they're the best team in our league right now. And then the next team we play, Florida State, is the same way with Chris Kumaji, 7'5", being the deterrent trying to score at the rim.
That's a big week, Louisville, and then as you mentioned, back on the road, Florida State's very tough at home.
Yeah, Florida State has lost once in like the last 30-something games at home. That's a very, very tough place to play. Leonard Hamilton's done a great job.
All right, Coach. Congratulations on the victory over State. Best of luck this week against Louisville and Florida State.
Well, thanks, Joe.
All right, that's University of Miami head coach Jim Larrañaga. And when we come back on Hurricane Game Day, we'll sit down with Katie Meyer right here. So don't go away on Hurricane Game Day. Welcome back to Hurricane Game Day, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. We move our attention now to University of Miami women's basketball with head coach Katie Meyer. And all right, good week for your team. A couple of big wins, Syracuse and Boston College. Let's start with Syracuse. That was a great win for you.
It was a very important win. They're very good. They had beaten Florida State, who was sitting on top of our conference, and they had straight up beat them. It wasn't like Florida State played bad. Syracuse just outscored Florida State, which is very hard to do. So a huge win for us. Our defense really came through. I thought my assistant coach's game plan was great.
And when you beat a team like Syracuse, it's so important because I think those those are culture programs. They've had they become accustomed to winning.
Right.
Playing for the championship a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're in a Syracuse and Miami. Okay, actually we recruit a lot of the same players. It's odd, but we do. All the Northeast kids that we really love, they're already on by the time we get up there. So and we've been pretty even. Their double games in the last couple of years, they've been able to win all 4 of them. And so they sometimes finish above us in the conference, but we're really pretty even. And so it's just been a battle every time we've played, and I enjoy it, and I always learn a lot coaching against Q.
Erica Davenport, it seems like every game she's playing great, but in particular that game was huge. She
was fantastic everywhere, defensively as well. And then I'm even more excited because Erica's been so consistent, but this burst from Kiki Harris that we're getting. I rewatch the film and I do a project for the team before every game on how to beat, and I use what we did in our last game that I know will help the game plan for this future game. And I couldn't. Every clip had Kiki and Erica in it. Every single clip. I mean, if Miami's going to be a big-time program, those 2 need to keep playing the way they're playing.
Well, you've got your team on a bit of a roll here. Yep. When you win 3 in a row in ACC play, it feels like 30 in a row, I think. But
it does.
Is that the common denominator? Erica
Yes.
and Kiki?
Yes, and as I said, Erica's been very consistent, but the lift has come from Kiki. And when your seniors are willing to kill themselves in some of your defensive schemes, where their energy is required on the defensive end so very much, and when the freshmen are still a little bit a step slow defensively because mentally they're just not understanding the schemes. So the upperclassmen, Shanice Bailey, Kiana Harris, Nisha Pettiholm, Erica Davenport, have to do the role player work, but they're getting significant time. And then we say, by the way, you need to score. So Kiki had 9 rebounds this week as well in a game. Erica had another double-double. So they're killing themselves. And so practices are a little bit light, and the game's, playing with a ton of energy.
It is kind of true, though, right? When you win a couple of games in a row, it feels like 30 in a row. Conversely, if you lose a couple in a row, it feels like, oh, my goodness, how are you ever going to get out of this ditch? Like the world's coming down. How do you fight those emotions during the course of the year?
Well, we really haven't looked at our long-term schedule. We really haven't tried to script anything out, and it's just a matter of who you play, where you play them, and when you're playing them. And when we have an opportunity, that's a big word in our team this year, opportunity, because we're a little underdog quite often in some of these ACC games, and we like that word. We've taken advantage of plenty of them.
We will talk about Boston College, plus a big week coming up, Louisville at home, and then on the road against Virginia Tech. But first, let's take a look back at our highlights. The Hurricanes' big win over Syracuse, brought to you by UL Sports Medicine, will get you back in the game.
We have heard and learned enough lessons this year. It is mid-January. It is conference season. It is the stretch run. And we are a unit. And we'll take whatever good you can bring. And whatever bad you're doing, we have to talk to you about it. And you have to take it like a woman. You have to breathe it in. And then flush it out. And move on. Tonight, it's a fight, it's a war, it's a battle. And the tougher team's going to win. And I think that tough team's wearing white tonight. Let's go.
Welcome back to Hurricane Game Day, everybody. Presented by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki alongside Katie Meyer. Hurricanes on a roll here and some big games coming up. And before we talk about Louisville, which is going to be a Thursday morning game, Boston College went on the road there. Right. And that was a nice win, wire to wire. It
was. The players were very focused, very much a business trip. I had to sort of relight their fuse a little bit right before the game. But we shot the ball as well as we shot it all year. And Boston College, you could just see their coaching staff was just stunned because we're second to last in the conference in three-point shooting and came out on fire hitting threes and sharing the basketball. And we try to have 65% of our field goals assisted. That's a game goal of ours, and we finally got it in this game. You mentioned Shanice Bailey a little bit earlier, but she really played well for you against Boston College. She did. She started off a little bit rusty, and I think that the super subs came in. I mean, Taylor Mason and Kelsey Marshall were great. Sarah Mortensen was phenomenal, 3 for 3. And Nisha has been giving us great minutes off the bench, but when we brought Bailey back in, she dominated the game. Okay, on Thursday, you're going to have an elementary school day. I think this is one of the great ideas in college athletics. You've already had one this year, but now you're going to do it in a conference game against a really good opponent who just lost their first game. I got knocked from the unbeatens, but you're going to play at 11 o'clock in the morning. I wonder, and you're going to have a great crowd, but they're going to be young. Yep, right, and we'll need all the energy we can get because we're going to have, I was thinking this morning, I was like, dang, we played Florida State right after they lost, and now we're playing Louisville right after a loss, and neither team had really lost much this year. Louisville hadn't at all, so the Angry Birds are coming into town. But, you know, we've been getting a toughness, and the one thing I love about Louisville and the excellent coach, Jeff Walls, just he runs a fantastic program. They're tough, though. They're really, really tough. So number one, you better be ready to battle. Now, them coming off a loss, the toughness is going to be through the charts. So it's going to be, we need all the energy we can get from the school day. I know he's a friend of yours. Are you going to warn him that there might be a little bit of screeching? No, I won't tell him that. But I did actually call him when marketing came up with the idea because it's just courtesy to let another team know. It really does change your travel plans. So he was fired up about it too. He loves those games. I think it's great for the young kids to see role models out there. Right, and we're talking about, you know, they have two legit All-American players on their team, and Asia Durr and Maisha Hines-Allen, and a great cast of characters that set screens. You know, it's so nice to see teams that set screens, get great angles, understand, you know, not to over-dribble. And so, you know, every time we play a team of that caliber, we take lessons from them too, but hopefully we can show them a little bit about guts as well. All right, big week, Louisville, then Virginia Tech on the road. Well, I mean, that's what we signed up for. And like I said, you know, the schedule hands you what you get, and then you do make the most of it. But a lot of opportunity in this week as well, and we're going to keep focusing on that word. All right, keep it rolling. Thank you. All right, that's University of Miami head coach Katie Meyer, and for Jim Larinaga, I'm Joe Zagacki. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Hurricane Game Day.